So I was doing pad work the other day. My pad holder had on this big chest shield, and I was like, oh, I want to try throwing some side kicks. And I hit him, and he went, oh, it was actually my dad, and he was going, oh my gosh, it felt like my esophagus like got left as I got knocked backwards. He said, it's so powerful. Why do you not throw this technique more? You should start adding it into your next fight. Today we're going to talk about why I generally don't throw side kicks. You don't see them in my fights, and the 3 big problems I have with them, even though they're incredibly powerful. So as most of you guys are probably aware, I have my black belt in karate, my 4th degree black belt actually, and I started in karate and sort of transitioned through about 5 or 6 years into kickboxing. It took me a long time because I was very comfortable, very good actually at doing a stance switch and making this my primary weapon. That was just, I'd blast it out and I'd be able to destroy people with it. But then people started going, oh, Gabriel, we got to transition if you want to be a kickboxer. So I did what I was supposed to, went to the stance, got my hands up. But like I was saying, the side kick, when I throw it, is so powerful. I probably can get more force, maybe not damaging force, but more force on it than any other kick. But when I start going, should I add it into my training camp? Utilize it in my next fight? Still, these big 3 issues that we're going to talk about right now are stopping me. So let's talk about number 1, and that is the stance. What stance is easiest to throw a side kick out of? It's definitely not from here. It's usually from here. This stance is where it's easiest to blast off side kicks. Now you can transition absolutely from here to here and then throw. But the reason I don't like the side stance is obviously it's very hard to get boxing happening. How do I throw hard off this backhand? And number 2, how am I going to properly check the low kick? So defensively, I feel like you're compromised. You could absolutely bring your leg up and then transition it over from either side, but I feel like it's a little slower when you do that. You're bouncing here and you have to come to the side and get that leg up, and it just slows it up that little bit, which I don't like. Maybe this works for some of you guys from your kickboxing stance, but for me, I don't like it. I like to get a little bit of a turn, so maybe I'll disguise it first with the jab and then come in with a side kick. But again, to me, it's not the most effective way to throw this kick. It's done best from this position, and I don't want to be in this position. And I would like to take a moment to recognize the sponsor of this episode, X Martial, who does more for the community than any brand out there. They sponsor over 300 athletes of all levels. They work with kids to help them on their martial arts journey.
That's actually fun. I like doing this. This is so fun.
They've given away over $10,000 in gear in 2023, and now is the time to shop with X Martial as they have some amazing deals. Be sure to use my promo code Gabriel Varga to save 10%. My second big problem with it is the impact area. When we look at the surface of the foot landing, which is what you're going to end up landing with most likely, you know, people say, oh, just land with the heel, which means you're really going to have to pull your toes way back to get with your heel. And if they go, okay, you can just land with the heel to the stomach, that's pretty hard to do. If somebody shifts a tiny little bit, you end up landing with more of the flat of the foot. And again, we know with surface area, the more surface area that connects, the less pound per square inch there is in pressure, which means it doesn't hurt as bad. So when I throw my front kick, because I'm coming straight up and out, I'm able to land with the ball of the foot. But when I come with this thing, I find that landing with the side of the foot and sometimes all the way from the heel to the ball of the foot makes it not that damaging. And I've been kicked a number of times with side kicks in sparring, in fights, and they hit, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, you moved me. That's great, you moved me backwards, that might look good to the judges, but damage-wise, you didn't really do that much. And it's fairly rare to see somebody take a side kick to the body and then just collapse to the ground from the impact. Remember, there's a difference between somebody getting knocked backwards and falling on their bum and somebody getting kicked in the stomach and collapsing because they got the wind knocked out of them. And no, I'm not talking about spinning side kicks. I do believe spinning side kicks are incredibly powerful and something which should be utilized. But one of my additional problems is just, yes, the striking surface of the foot, the part that you land with, is very difficult to hone in on just the heel. And maybe it's just I haven't thrown them enough recently, but I think you end up landing with a bigger surface area than you ideally want. And the last thing, my last problem with the side kicks are they're very hard to work into combinations. Nice, stringing combinations. It's kind of like, okay, maybe I throw my jab as a disguise, I get to my side stance, and then I blast in my side kick. Or I come from my side kick, and then I move around, and then I throw something. But to come from combo into side kick, or from side kick into combo, it's not the smoothest thing. And I believe that's why when you see many fighters like Wonderboy Thompson throw the side kick, it's done usually solo. It's by itself. And I don't like the fact that it's harder to mix in with other techniques. All of this is not to discredit the side kick. Like I said at the beginning, it is an incredibly powerful kick. If you land it, you send people flying. But when you compare it to the front kick or a round kick or a mean knee up to the stomach, I think all of those cause more damage, even though they don't move people the same way the side kicks do. So I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on it, because you may have been wondering, oh, why are there not many side kicks in fight sports? The ones that really work, like we're not talking about point fighting karate or above the waist karate. We're talking about things where the rules are pretty open and you can get away with anything. You don't see as many side kicks in those sports. So that, in my opinion, is why. So let's call it there, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. As always, train hard, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.